Imagine a Saturday night. Your friends are all checking in at busy coffee shops. People are posting stories, commenting, and buzzing with energy on social media. And you're alone in your quiet room, phone silent, no new messages, no one waiting for you to share anything. Just the soft glow of a lamp on the wall and you, face to face with yourself. Most people call that loneliness. But what if I told you, this is the most precious moment for you to listen to yourself truly? In a society that always pushes you to show up, share and perform, the ability to withdraw almost feels strange. But in Stoic philosophy, it's in that very retreat that you begin your journey of building inner strength and unshakable strength and, as Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you're searching for ways to control your emotions, cultivate calm, or gain mastery over yourself amid the chaos, this video will give you a new perspective and practical tools to start from within. Stay until the end, because what you seek is waiting just around the corner. 1. True strength starts from within. Imagine yourself as a fortress. The outer walls may stand tall and proud, the gate may be solid and secure, but if there is no order, no commander, no fighting spirit inside, then even the slightest wind can cause that fortress to collapse from within. You can build all the walls you want with work, money, reputation, or relationships. But if there's no inner order, it's all just for show, a thin shell easily shattered by life's storms. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, is my mind truly stable? The truth is, you can't lead others if you can't first lead yourself. All efforts to control the outside world are pointless if you're still ruled by your emotions, anger, impulses, or fears. You might be successful, influential, and respected, but if your mind is in chaos, if you're still entangled in the judgments, opinions, praise, or criticism of others, you'll always feel insecure. We live in a world where being alone is seen as odd, even worrying. Messages are expected to be answered instantly. Social media never sleeps. Constant presence is equated with living well, being dynamic, or being productive. But have you ever wondered if this continuous connection to news feeds, notifications, and social networks could actually be the way you slowly lose yourself? Do you even remember what peace feels like if you've never paused to listen to yourself? Ryan Holiday, author of The Obstacle is the Way, once shared, "If you want to be steady and calm and still, you have to step away from the world's temptations and excitements, from the trivialities of life, and the need for validation from others." That isn't just advice, it's a compass for inner strength. No one can stand firm in life's storms if their mind is still swept away by temptation, distraction, and the need for external approval. To truly be strong, you must dare to withdraw from the world's noise, disconnect from the urge to perform, to chase after other people's eyes or their approval and criticism. Start with intentional, quiet moments. Turn off your phone for 30 minutes a day. Write down your real thoughts in the morning. Observe your emotions before you act. Ask yourself, am I reacting for myself or out of fear of being judged? At first, you might feel uneasy, restless, or even afraid that you're missing out. But be patient. Only when you step outside the endless spin of external influences can you finally hear your own voice, the true sound of yourself. As you practice this, little by little, every day, you'll realize you no longer need to force yourself to appear strong. You'll naturally become strong without needing applause from the crowd, without needing victory to prove your worth. Those who are truly strong are the ones who live with intention, who choose to respond calmly instead of letting themselves get swept up by every change around them. You'll learn to stand firm without external noise, to remain calm in every situation, and to protect your own inner energy. If you're going through a crisis, pain, or simply feel lost, don't rush to look for answers outside. Stay with yourself. In that stillness, you'll finally hear a very small but very clear voice. I'm still here. I'm learning to stand up. You'll realize that true strength isn't about controlling others, but about mastering yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors, your choices. Try dedicating moments each day to retreat from the world. Start with 15 to 20 minutes of silence, no social media, no phone, no music. Just listen to your breath, watch your emotions come and go, and realize you're still whole, still enough, still capable of being in control. Join this challenge with me. Are you willing to try? Comment, "I accept the challenge" below, and come back to share your experience each day. Each day you stay present with yourself. You strengthen your inner fortress, building a strength no one can take away. Now is the time to start. Today, right now. Step out of the external whirlwind, turn inward, and build your own unbreakable fortress. Because true strength always begins within. 2. Stillness is the root of clarity. Imagine you are standing before a lake at dawn. When the water is still, you can see all the way to the bottom, every pebble, every strand of moss. But with just a breeze, a falling branch, the surface stirs, and everything becomes murky. You can't tell what's real or what's a reflection. Modern life is exactly like that. Noisy, relentless, always demanding your response to some sound, notification, or expectant gaze. If you keep getting swept along, you'll never truly see yourself, never have enough clarity to know what you need, what you want, or where you're going. Stillness gives you something the noisy world never will: insight. The crucial decisions of life-changing careers, starting or ending relationships, and simply choosing your attitude never arise from a fit of anger or sudden excitement. They come in moments of stillness, when you dare to face emptiness, hard questions, and even the fear of being forgotten or unimportant in someone else's eyes. Many of us fear silence because it forces us to look inward, to touch the empty spaces we've always avoided. Stillness at first can be uncomfortable, like someone has taken away the last supports for our sense of being valuable. We crave recognition, attention, to be someone who matters. But the more we chase validation, the further we drift from ourselves, losing our inner voice and the clarity that was always there. A prominent study by Dr. Matthias R. Mail and colleagues at the University of Arizona, published in 2018, showed the power of stillness in modern life. Participants were asked to turn off all electronic devices and spend 15 minutes each day in uninterrupted quiet. The results were impressive. Not only did stress levels drop, but self-awareness, decision-making, and emotional regulation all improved significantly. This study confirmed Just a brief daily silence brings clear, measurable mental benefits, a perfect fit for the philosophy of being alone to master yourself. You don't need to go far. Start small. Turn off your phone, sit alone, and just listen to your breath, your feelings, your thoughts as they arise. Don't rush to brush away the initial discomfort, because it's in that very moment that you begin to see clearly. You notice what hurts, what you truly desire, or simply experience a peace you never knew before. Stillness helps you see when to move forward, when to pause, what to keep, and what to let go. You'll discover something fascinating. All the answers have always been inside you. It's just that you haven't been quiet enough to hear them. When you learn to listen, clarity becomes your unwavering compass for every decision. Each step you take on the journey to self-mastery becomes clearer, more confident and purposeful. You'll stop being pulled along by outside noise, no longer ruled by others' recognition or judgment. Practice, step by step, with small daily silences. Spend 20 minutes in quiet, no social media, no phone, no music. Just listen to your breath. Observe your emotions and thoughts as they arise. At first you may feel uncomfortable, restless, or afraid of missing out. But be patient. Every minute you spend with yourself is another brick in your inner fortress, strengthening a power that no one can take away. True strength doesn't come from praise, achievements, or external recognition. It comes from self-mastery, from inner calm, from those moments you listen to and understand yourself. When you dare to embrace stillness, you'll uncover a deep, resilient power, a clarity in thought, and a full energy to face all of life's challenges. That's when you realize, as long as you master your inner world, you can withstand any storm, and your inner fortress will always stand strong, unbreakable. 3. Boundaries build inner safety. Have you ever felt like you're always available for every conversation? You're always open, letting people into your life, and after each time, you feel empty, drained. Sometimes you don't even recognize yourself anymore. If you've ever felt this way, know that it's not because you're weak, it's because you haven't learned to set boundaries for yourself. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're doors you choose to open or close, with the wisdom to know who deserves to step into your inner world and who should remain outside. Boundaries are the foundation of inner safety. It doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from a deep belief. No matter what happens, I can protect, care for, and love myself. Without boundaries, you're easily swept up into someone else's script, living a life of endless roles to please others, avoid abandonment, or prove your worth. You let others get too close. See your wounds, secrets, and desires, even ones you haven't yet understood yourself. One day, you find there's no space left to breathe, no refuge, because your mind is filled with the expectations, opinions, and judgments of others. Boundaries aren't cruelty or selfishness, they're responsibility. They're a firm statement. I respect myself enough not to allow anyone to hurt, overpower, or manipulate me. When you set boundaries, you build an inner safety zone, a space where you can be yourself, feel, choose, and say no when needed without guilt or fear of judgment. At the same time, you show others what you value and what you won't compromise on. The legendary psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Through working with thousands of patients and his own journey, Jung discovered that failing to set boundaries is at the root of much inner anxiety and crisis. Only by daring to face your own shadow, your unacknowledged inner world, can you truly grow, set healthy boundaries, and feel safe and steady in a turbulent world. Practicing boundaries doesn't have to start with huge changes. Start small, but be consistent. Dare to say no when you need to. Don't share every secret just because you're lonely. Don't accept every invitation, every responsibility, or every expectation unconditionally. Write down things that make you feel unsafe when shared. Identify who truly deserves your trust, and clarify the limits you want to set in relationships. Remember, those who don't respect your boundaries don't deserve a deep place in your life. Once boundaries are set, you'll notice a clear difference. You'll no longer struggle to live someone else's life or wear clothes that don't fit. No longer pulled along by others' feelings or opinions, you'll begin to feel inner peace and stable energy for living fully and wisely. And it's at this point you'll see outer freedom only truly exists when you feel safe within. You'll be ready to give, receive, experience, and grow without losing yourself, while maintaining self-control and steadiness. Keeping boundaries isn't a one-time challenge. It's a long journey, a daily practice. Each time you say no when you need to, each time you protect your inner space, you reinforce your strength and confidence. And these small acts accumulate into a lasting power, one that no one can take away, giving you the strength to stand firm through all events, pressures, and expectations. When you live with healthy boundaries, life becomes lighter, clearer, and you can choose who truly deserves to enter your inner world. Finally, remind yourself, boundaries are not barriers or separations, they're the right to choose. The right to live fully, safely, and freely. Start today with small actions and watch your inner strength grow each day. This is the foundation for becoming the strongest, most whole, and peaceful version of yourself. 4. Loneliness is the fullness of being yourself. Loneliness, just hearing these two words makes many people shudder. They fear coming home at night to nothing but their own sighs, fear the feeling of eating a meal with no one waiting, fear that no one will call their name when they need help, fear having to face a torrent of drifting, chaotic thoughts they can't control. But if you look deeper, loneliness is sometimes the only space where you can truly listen, connect, and fill yourself up with things the outside world can never give. Loneliness is where you meet yourself again, a quiet moment to recognize true feelings, unacknowledged fears, and desires you haven't faced. In modern society, being alone is often labeled as failure, as lacking friends, lacking attraction, lacking meaning. Every advertisement, social network, and media outlet pushes you to connect non-stop, making you afraid of being left behind, of feeling isolated. We try to fill the emptiness with work, news, entertainment, or casual relationships. Yet the more we try to compensate from the outside, the more we lose deep connection with ourselves. That very busyness often only dulls the inner voice, making us endlessly chase but always feel lacking, always feel exhausted. A prominent study by Professor Robert Waldinger and Dr. Mark Schultz at the Harvard Department of Psychology, 2023, has proven this point. The research team followed more than 700 adults through different life stages, comparing the frequency and quality of intentional alone time with being swept up in constant social activities. The results showed that those who proactively spent just 15 to 30 minutes a day in quiet reflection, journaling or meditation scored significantly higher in happiness, life satisfaction and creativity than the other group. This is clear evidence that intentional solitude, not avoidance, truly nourishes strength and clarity from within. But this doesn't mean you have to exile yourself to isolation. Loneliness is the necessary pause between the symphony of life, a place to adjust your rhythm, calm your mind, and clarify your true priorities. By accepting loneliness, you learn to be your own companion. You become the most devoted listener to your own feelings, fears, and dreams. You realize that no one else can grow for you, heal for you, or decide what life you really want to live. Loneliness, when nurtured, is a strict but fair teacher, forcing you to stop, look honestly at yourself, and find your own inherent worth. Try starting by spending 20 minutes a day by yourself. No social media, no music, no phone. Just listen to your breath. Feel each emotion as it passes. Can you do it? Comment, "I accept the challenge," right now, and come back to share your experience each day. At first, you may feel uncomfortable, empty, or restless, but be patient. Gradually, you'll find a sense of wholeness that doesn't depend on external circumstances, a sustainable internal energy, and a rare peace amidst the rush of daily life. Loneliness, if accepted and nurtured, is the root of confidence, creativity, and courage. It helps you step out into the world with the composure of someone who has faced and understood themselves. You will no longer seek validation from others, no longer panic at someone's gaze, judgment, or absence. At that point, you'll know how to choose relationships wisely, know what's truly important, and know when to move forward, when to pause, when to hold on, and when to let go. Imagine loneliness as a fertile patch of empty land. If you plant the right seeds, it will blossom into creativity, peace, and self-mastery. And only when you know how to stand alone, to face yourself, will you truly find your inner power. You will step into life with serenity, no longer scrambling to fill a void from the outside. Then, loneliness will no longer be a fear, but a precious gift that taught you how to become your true, whole, and resilient self. 5. Pain is a ruthless teacher. Perhaps among all human experiences, nothing stings quite as sharply as the feeling of betrayal. It's that moment when you realize the person you once trusted, once shared your deepest secrets with, can turn their back on you so coldly, even cruelly. Your emotions shatter, your mind reels with self-blaming questions. How could I have been so naive? Why didn't I see their true nature sooner? But you know what? That doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, it's the beginning of a valuable lesson that life, often in the harshest way, wants you to grow from. Betrayal is something no one wants to experience. It's like a deep cut that seems to have healed, but just one memory, a glance, a careless word can make it bleed again. Yet betrayal itself is a merciless grace, a gift wrapped in pain, forcing you to let go of illusions and face the bare reality. Only then do you clearly see it was your own judgments, expectations, and blind trust that sowed the seeds of suffering. The pain helps you sharpen your intuition, your ability to read people, and your awareness in placing trust. It teaches you that not everyone deserves to step into your inner world, and not everyone should share your deepest secrets. At first, you may be tormented by what-if questions, caught between anger, regret, and confusion. But remember, this pain has a purpose. Just as in the work Letters to Lucilius, the Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Betrayal, hurt, and loss are not merely dead ends in a relationship, but starting points for a journey of healing and rebuilding yourself. The price is pain, but the reward is a more realistic, sharper perspective on the world and yourself. Dare to face and observe the pain. Don't run away. Don't try to fill the void with new relationships or fleeting pleasures. Ask yourself, what have I learned from this pain? What in my way of thinking, trusting, or expecting made me so vulnerable? Journaling your feelings, sharing with someone truly trustworthy, or turning to works of philosophy or art are also ways to transform pain into growth. Each time you acknowledge your feelings, each time you pause to reflect on the pain, you are slowly building self-mastery and inner strength. More importantly, learn how to set healthy boundaries for yourself. Boundaries aren't selfishness or closed-mindedness. They're how you protect your inner safe space, a place where you can live fully, feel, choose, and say no when needed, without guilt or worrying about what others will think. When you do this, no matter who leaves, no matter what falls apart, you still keep your calm and continue on with yourself. Betrayal, hurt, and loss, in the end, are just merciless teachers, teaching you lessons about self-control, strength, and compassion in the language of truth and maturity. You will realize that true maturity is not about avoiding pain, but daring to face it, daring to feel it, and daring to move on with a strong heart, a clear mind, and a soul no longer afraid of loneliness or loss. When you know how to stand firm in the storm of emotions, you will no longer be easily swayed by others' words or actions. You will see that true strength begins from within, from your ability to maintain calm and clarity, even when the world outside is in chaos. We're halfway through today's lesson. Your presence here inspires us to keep spreading the real values of Stoic philosophy. So if this video brings you value, please like and share it to help these lessons reach your friends and loved ones. 6. Not everything needs a reaction. Have you ever felt like a tiny boat in a stormy sea? The harsh words, judging eyes, and negative comments online slam into you, and you immediately get tossed around by every wave. Each quick reaction is like a gust of wind, making the boat rock harder, your mind more chaotic, and your energy drained. Eventually, you lose track of your own direction, swept into dramas that were never yours to begin with. Here's the truth. Many of us grow up believing that if we don't react, we'll look weak, be pushed around, or lose control. But actually, sometimes not reacting right away is the deepest sign of self-control and quiet confidence. When you don't fire back impulsively, you give yourself time to listen, observe, and respond wisely, if you even need to respond at all. That's the difference between someone who leads and someone who's always led by the world. Think about Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of our time. He's famous for sitting still and watching, not getting swept up in market emotions. As he once said, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. By not reacting to every fluctuation, he keeps a cool head and only acts when he has solid information and good reason. That's the art of calm, not letting the outside world rule your inner world. Start small. When someone irritates you, instead of snapping back, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I really need to react right now? Sometimes, silence is a powerful choice not to submit, but to keep your peace. You might be surprised at how many things just settle down or disappear if you simply don't react. This isn't easy. It takes moment-to-moment awareness, noticing your feelings as they arise. Try journaling about situations where you jumped in unnecessarily. Ask yourself, if I had stayed silent, what would have changed? With practice, you'll notice you become more proactive in relationships, less dragged into pointless arguments, and have more energy for what truly matters. And maybe the greatest gift of maturity is knowing. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from choosing not to let everything control you. 7. Trust is an asset, not a random gift. If each of us has a secret treasure, trust is surely the purest gold inside. Yet strangely, in a world of rushed promises, fleeting likes on social media, and short-lived commitments, many people hand out their trust too easily, as if it's just a surplus gift to be given away for the sake of being liked or accepted. Have you ever given your whole trust to someone just because of sweet words? When they let you down, have you ever blamed yourself, felt empty, or doubted your own worth? These experiences aren't just about the pain of betrayal, they shake your sense of inner security. Trusting the wrong person not only wounds you, but can also make it hard to know which way to go in life. So what's the solution if you want to live honestly without being caught in endless cycles of disappointment? Start with a simple rule. Never give your trust based on words alone or fleeting sympathy. Observe actions because actions never lie. Someone truly worthy of your trust is someone who keeps their word, takes responsibility for what they promise, and most importantly, never leaves you questioning your own worth after every interaction. In Christina Perri's song Trust, she sings, "I wish that I could trust you again, but I've learned the hard way that trust isn't just given away." Those lines are a powerful reminder. Trust is forged by experience, loss, and hurt. Don't hesitate to refuse to trust too quickly. This isn't coldness, it's you protecting your own value. Consider a real-life story. You once had a close friend, someone you shared secrets and your deepest thoughts with. You believed this person was a soulmate, someone reliable. But then, because of a rumor, they turned their back on you, revealing private things you'd shared. After that, you realized not everyone who says they care is mature enough to hold what you give them. The big lesson, guarding your trust, is also guarding yourself from unnecessary pain. Don't make yourself a victim of naivety, but don't shut your heart entirely either. Let your trust be built on a foundation of observation, challenge, and time. Sometimes refusing to trust someone isn't being cold. It's a sign you respect yourself. In the end, trust is an asset, not a free giveaway. When you keep it safe and give it to the right people, it not only protects you from life's shocks, but helps you recognize the true value of relationships that deserve to be treasured. Remember, being trusted by others is precious, but trusting your own choices is the root of your strength and inner peace. 8. True freedom is living by your own values. If there's a harshest prison in life, it's not four walls and chains. It's the invisible prison of expectations, judgments, and the gaze of others. Many people spend their whole lives chasing approval, acceptance, sometimes pity, or fleeting admiration. They're caught in the cycle of being like someone, having to achieve something, needing to prove themselves. But when night falls and you're left alone in a quiet room, you'll see the greatest prison is not daring to live true to your core values. The highest freedom, as Stoic philosophy teaches, is living honestly without needing anyone's validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." It's a simple but powerful reminder of inner freedom, where you don't need noise to prove yourself, don't need explanations to be accepted. You only need to live true to what you believe and steadfastly follow your chosen path. But why is it so hard? Because every day the world bombards you with standards, measures of success, and requirements to be called accomplished. Peer pressure, family expectations, society's voice, all like strong currents pushing you away from your inner values. Every time you compromise what you believe in to please others, you build another wall in that invisible prison. So the first solution: be honest with yourself. What do I truly believe in? What is unchangeable in me, no matter how the world changes? When you define your core values clearly, every choice becomes simpler. You'll no longer be lost at crossroads, no longer chase the crowd, or be shaken by criticism. Second, before each decision, pause and ask, is this true to my values? If not, dare to say no, even if it makes you different, or even alone in a group. True freedom isn't for the crowd, it's for those brave enough to live authentically. When you live by your values, you'll feel a lightness, a freedom and peace even when standing alone in the world. You'll no longer fear offending others or being misunderstood, because you know true freedom doesn't come from the outside, but from living as your real self, quietly, courageously, completely. Then you don't need to shout to the world, because your freedom will shine quietly, powerfully, like dawn after a long night. We'd love to hear your story. Have you ever dared to say no to social pressure to live by your values? Share your story or experience in the comments. It may inspire someone else on their own journey to inner freedom. 9. Self-mastery is the highest form of inner strength. If life is a mighty river, the truly strong are not those who stir up the water, but those who keep their boat steady through every storm. That's the essence of self-mastery, the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You might have thought personal power was about influence, giving orders and making others obey. But eventually, you realize the most lasting strength is in mastering yourself, not the world. Picture this. You're the only calm person in a tense meeting, not swept up in emotion, not lashing out in anger, not making rash decisions in panic. In that moment, you're not just the strongest person in the room, but also the most trustworthy. Others look to you, seeking guidance from your inner stability. But self-mastery isn't a gift from above. It's the result of countless days of practice, mostly in silence and solitude. When the crowd cheers, it's easy to rise, but when no one claps and it's just you facing yourself, that's when real strength is forged. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. His legacy wasn't just built on game-winning shots, but on absolute discipline in training, emotional control after bitter losses, and resilience under crushing pressure. There were nights he practiced alone until exhaustion, sharpening his skills and willpower, while everyone else was busy praising or criticizing. That's living proof. Real strength isn't built in the noise, but shaped in quiet determination. The way to personal power isn't about controlling others, but mastering yourself every day. It's practicing awareness, recognizing emotions as they rise, but not letting them drive your actions, knowing when to pause and reflect before acting. Building small, consistent habits like meditation, journaling, or asking yourself, "Today, did I truly master myself?" Ask yourself, am I living on autopilot, letting circumstances control my mood, words, and actions? Or am I learning to step back, see things from the viewpoint of an observer, calm, clear, and knowing what needs to be done next? Self-mastery, like a great mountain, isn't built in a day. But each small step on the path of self-discipline lays a brick in that summit. And when you stand firm at the top, you'll no longer fear life's storms, because true power isn't in commanding others, but in absolute mastery of yourself. Then every look of admiration, every applause becomes just the wind outside the porch, while your real peace, freedom, and strength remain unshakable deep within. Today's journey has led us deep into the nature of inner strength, stillness, and how to build a life untouched by expectation, pressure, or betrayal from the outside world. We've discovered that being alone isn't weakness. It's a chance to understand yourself, cultivate discipline, and find true inner safety. From setting boundaries to protect your energy, practicing stillness and inner reflection, to nurturing trust and living by your core values, every step is a practice toward becoming truly self-mastered and free. True strength isn't about showing others. It's about choosing serenity in every trial and turning wounds into wisdom. Now, I want to hear from you. Looking at yourself, what have you mastered, and what challenges remain on your journey to inner strength? Share your thoughts below. Stay tuned for upcoming videos where we'll keep exploring Stoic principles to help you master life, strengthen your inner world, and live fully as yourself. Wishing you a new day filled with energy, peace, and deep experience.